Hi, I'm Jim, and welcome to my backyard. What I've got here is the World War I Gallipoli and the MK3 Outdoor Kukri from Heritage Knives. I'm not going to be testing this today. This is my souvenir knife from Nepal. I have no doubt that it is every bit of effective as any other knife, but as my souvenir knife from Nepal, I want to keep it pretty much as it is. So I'm going to keep this in my knife collection, and I'm not going to use it. But let's just talk about this a little bit. So when I was in Nepal, I visited with VK Kumar, who brought me to his home and showed me his collection of antique kukris, as well as the kukris that he sells as part of Heritage Knives. And this is the one that I decided that I wanted. This was basically a year in the making. These just came in the mail about a month ago. When I was in Nepal, I sort of picked out the knives from VK that I wanted for my friends and I. He had different knives, but they weren't all in the same style. So he had this knife available, but he had it in sort of a traditional kukri style, which is not a through tang. And so I said to him, hey, you know what? For me and my friends, I'd like to get these knives, and I pointed to the ones that I wanted, but I want to make sure that they're all through tang. And so he had his craftsman make me this knife, as well as the MK3, as well as a couple of others. He's got one that is called the Nature, and it is outstanding. I have not tested it, but from looks and from what I can see with these knives, it is an excellent outdoor knife. And my friend Jeff, I actually got one of those knives for him, and after seeing it, I was like, oh man, I wish I'd gotten that knife for myself. But as you can see, this particular knife is a 16.5-inch blade. It's 21.5, 22 inches overall. I don't know if it's a rosewood handle. I'll have to ask him about that. But you can see it's pinned, and it's a through tang with the with their typical Nepali ferrule. The MK3. This is a prototype. The original MK3 was a 12-inch blade. This is a 10.5-inch blade, and it is designed to be a bushcraft knife, essentially, a bushcraft kukri. It's also designed for folks that have no experience with kukris, and so to that end, what he did is he made a couple changes to the handle. So, for example, you look at your typical kukri handle, and it's got this ridge in the middle, and it's perfectly round. Some people aren't used to that ridge, and so what he did is he took that out. He's made the handle hexagonal, which is actually, you look at it, you say, oh, it's hexagonal. That's not a kukri handle, but it is. The one great thing about VK is he bases all of his kukris on historic kukri knives. So he's not somebody out there that's like looking at a kukri style knife and saying, oh, I like this style of knife, I'm going to make a knife with this curve and call it a kukri. That's not what he does. He has a collection of old kukris, and so he is building traditional kukris in a modern style. So, which means basically that he is taking the dimensions and the shapes of kukris from World War II, World War I, and prior to that, and he's building them with modern materials and putting a modern slant on traditional kukri knives. The one thing that I like about kukris, especially with one like this, and you can see it's very subtle. There's a very subtle fullering in the blade. Now, I've got that same sort of subtleness in my Wilderness Barong, and what I found is it actually helps with wood splitting because the wood does not get caught. And so this has got that same thing. Anyway, this was made for the beginning kukri user. It's meant to be an easy kukri to wield. It is a through tang, as you can see, so it really is made for hard use. Let's see how it starts a fire. First, let's see how sharp it comes from the factory. Now I am not a kukri user. Looks like it comes with a good working edge. Let's get some fat wood shavings. Okay, wow, that created some really good shavings really fast. Let's see if I can get a fire going. So I'm going to try it over here first to see. Wow, that's throwing a lot of sparks. So again, my preferred way is the slow push, hopefully not disturbing the tinder bundle. See if that takes. Got a little wind here. Okay, that looked like it was going to take, so it shouldn't take much to start a fire with this. Okay, so now we've got the wind blowing, and the wind is blowing the sparks back at me. So I'm going to go just above. I'm going to go just above the fat wood. Wait a minute, it's being blown away. Okay, I'm going to go just above the fat wood. Hopefully the sparks will get blown towards me again. There we go. Took a little bit of time to figure out where the placement needed to be, especially with this wind here. But that went up pretty fast. I'm pleased. I'm really pleased with that. So let's get to some splitting and see how things go. Let's do some basic chopping first. So this is some maple from my tree, and 18 inches is about what I need for my stove. Now I am not a kukri user, so I've got to get used to, you know, how to handle this and where to cut with it, right? So do I cut here? Do I cut in here? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Now, I'm going to admit I'm being a little tentative here because I am not a kukri user. So, you know, once I get the feel for it, I'll be a little more aggressive. But for right now, I just need to get a feel for it. But as you can see, cutting pretty well. It's not bad. Let's just take a quick measurement right there. Let's take this, get rid of that so I can actually put it in my stove. Okay, that'll work. And let's go right about here. This is great. It's throwing a lot of chips, and so far the only deficiency is in the user. Now this is, from what BK tells me, this is, if I remember correctly, the equivalent of 5160. Let's see here. Yeah, this is working out really well. You know, I need to get some confidence in how to correctly use it, but I'm really liking this. I am liking this. I am getting a little reverberation in the handle. Cool. Okay, let's do some splitting. This is about three inches in diameter. It's got a knot in the middle. See if I can avoid that knot. Well, there's a knot here, there's a knot here on the other side, and there's a knot here. So I think either way we go, we're going to have a knot. Now, this is an odd shape, right? For somebody who's not familiar with the kukri, right? Do you lay it like this for batoning? Do you do it this way? I have no idea. But my gut is to keep the top of the blade flat and then go in this way. So we'll see how that works. I am finding that I'm having to baton on the other side here, right in here, and that's because of the shape. It's not my preference to do that, but again, this is an odd shape for me. And this is a gnarly piece of wood. It's stubborn. I think with with any other piece of wood, I would have been through already. Wow. That is a knotty piece of wood. And you can see how it's splitting. So, and there's no damage at all to the edge. I didn't check the straightness before, which I probably should have done. It's pretty straight. though I probably should have checked it beforehand. Let's see, can I just pop it open? I can. Take a smaller piece, and a piece that's not as knotted. And I've got to imagine that this is just going to go right through. And this is, it's about a 2.5 inch piece. Yeah. That's what I would have expected would have happened with that other piece had it not been so knotty. So the wind has turned into rain. I've got just enough time maybe to finish up this this video. I've got some Chinese pistache, which I use as sort of my you know, my edge toughness test. It has destroyed knives in the past, so you know, if this kukri holds out without any edge damage on this wood, then I think it's good to go anywhere in any situation. Now this is a really tough wood, so this is doing really well. My rushing during the during the rain is not helping with my accuracy. Wow, I'm really impressed. If you've seen some of my other videos, I've had knives that have taken twice as long to cut through Chinese pistache like this. And there we go. No wear at all on the edge. You know, maybe this test isn't as long as some of the other tests I've done. I've done tests where I've cut through several pieces of Chinese pistache, but you know, this kukri is good to go in my opinion. So that was the Heritage Knives MK3 10.5 inch kukri, and I'm Jim Lowe. Hope you enjoyed this video.